Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moody.
And I'm Wajahat Ali. And Danielle, last time I checked, we live in America, which is a democracy-ish. And I was told for the past 5 years by Republicans and MAGA in particular that they were against cancel culture and they were all for the free speech and First Amendment. And words don't incite violence. And you know what? Even if people say the worst, most terrible things, damn it, that's why people fought and died for our democracy. And I was told, hey, take it, kiss it, just take it in the chin. Stop being a snowflake. We don't need safe spaces. Cancel all safe spaces, right? I was told all that. So in the spirit of our fellow MAGA brothers and sisters, let me exercise my First Amendment and my free speech and my liberties and just start off this show saying the following. I condemn Charlie Kirk's murder because I'm not a psychopath. And I condemn political violence across the board because, I want people to live. And I also condemn Charlie Kirk for being a totally incompetent, ignorant, hateful, racist piece of shit. His whole life was a life that preyed upon the most vulnerable, the most marginalized. He is a man who profited off of hate and bigotry. He used whatever talents he had to radicalize young people to go after the most marginalized. He left the world a worse place than a better place. And I think the people who follow him should wear their shirts, I am Charlie Kirk, proudly. I want them to wear it openly and proudly. I want the hoods to be off because I want to see the people who support the man who said that Black people were better off during segregation and slavery. Danielle, how was your weekend?
I mean, you know what? Thank you, my friend. We here on this show believe in the First Amendment. We believe in our right to free speech. And I will say this. This weekend was wild because I kept saying to my friends that I hung out with this weekend, we got to be really grateful for the great reveal that is happening right now. That we are existing, and for those that follow astrology, you know that I do, and that we're in between eclipses right now. And, in between eclipses, there's like a thinning that happens, a veil is lifted. And we have got to be really grateful for people revealing the truth of who they are. And I mean people and institutions, right? Saying the quiet part out loud, saying their vision, for America, because you can no longer waste time and energy trying to pretend that these people are not who they say that they are. Right? That they are not racist, that they are, like, oh, is Donald Trump racist? Is Charlie Kirk racist? Like, do they have racism in their heart? Like, you spend so much time doing the mental gymnastics when people are showing you and telling you who they are. And so, on the shows last week, I said, I'm going to let Charlie Kirk speak for himself.
Yep.
And I just ran the receipts. Like, I don't have to say anything. I'm going to let this man speak for himself. And you decide, right, what the truth is. And so, I think that it's amazing because I want to start again. Great reveal, a big reveal. Listen to Donald Trump at one of his gaudy ass golf courses this past weekend. It's real quick, but I just want people to listen to what Donald Trump says to a room of his supporters.
People don't like me, and they don't like what we talk about.
I'm just going to play it one more time, just for the kids in the back.
People don't like me, and they don't like what we talk about.
Smart people don't like me, and they don't like what we talk about. Right, because anybody that is smart is very aware of your bullshit. Anybody that is smart is very aware of the money grab, the grift, the lying, right? That you have to prey on the uneducated in this country, right? There was a time when Donald Trump said that he loves uneducated people, right? Like, he said that. And so I'm saying to myself, if you're in a room with Donald Trump and he's saying, smart people don't like me, and those fucking idiots standing there are laughing, he's talking about you.
Yep.
You are not smart. You are dumb because you believe him and you believe in him. These people have twisted their morals and their character as a way to get closer to Donald Trump, to become embedded in and invested in white nationalism,
Yep.
for the belief that it's not going to ever eat them. And I'm just like, what I wish that they would destroy themselves and
They
that
are.
we
They
would
will.
not be the collateral damage, though. That's what I wish. I wish that they would just go to, you know what? Take each other out. I don't give a fuck. I am not wasting tears and I'm not wasting sympathies, but like, leave the rest of us out of it. Leave the rest of us out of it.
Well, Danielle, right before we press record, we were talking and I said, Danielle, everything we've been talking about on Democracy-ish is coming true and it's the world's worst. I told you so. And we don't want our flowers. We just want it to be wrong, because what we've been saying is that we're witnessing the death rattle and what I call the death march of white supremacy in America and Europe. I hate to be right about this. I said we will go mainstream with white supremacist content and talking points by 2024. 2025. What we also said is white supremacy is ultimately self-destructive. As Danielle said, they can't leave us alone. They want to kill all of us, but they're ultimately going to kill themselves. It's so dumb. Just came out right now today. We couldn't get in the rundown that 1 out of 6 Americans aren't vaccinating their kids, folks. You think so? You always think I'm crazy. I said white supremacy is ultimately destructive, but self-destructive. They will destroy everyone. And our goal was like to protect ourselves, like just destroy each other, not us. But they need to destroy us. And the analogy we've always given on the show, which is also shared by our friend Jonathan Metzl, who did the research, wrote this great book called Dying of Whiteness. He did the research. He showed that literally Trump voters would choose whiteness and white supremacy instead of their own lives. He interviewed people who literally said, it's Obamacare, it's a black man, I won't take it, I would rather die. And you know what happened? They died.
Yep.
COVID. As they're dying because their master and leader told them it's like it's fake, it's a liberal hoax. They're like, I don't have COVID. The nurse is like, you have COVID. No, and they died. Now you have measles.
There were people being interviewed. I remember this white man whose son died of COVID, and he was just like, I'm still not going to take the vaccine. My son died for whatever. And I'm just like, for what? But Karen, absolutely right. I say this all the time.
Great example.
These are the descendants of the people who would rather drain the swimming pool and harm themselves than integrate. Like this is the logic. This is the logic.
I will rather
where these people come from.
I will rather burn down the house, my own house, and my entire neighborhood than share my mansion with you. And we're like, you and me, Danielle, but people of color and non-white supremacist white people are like, hey, please don't burn down the house. You really don't have to. The house is big. You live in your corner. We'll live in our corner. Live your life. We don't want you to suffer in order to feel great again. They're like, no. You have a room and a bathroom. I have to burn down the entire village. Wait. You work really hard and you save money and you were able to extend your bathroom and make it into a master bathroom. I can't have that. I only have a regular bathroom. You took that bathroom space from me, right? That it all goes back to a zero-sum mindset, right? Everything Danielle gets and I get, and the reason I'm using me and Danielle as an example is she's a black queer woman, I'm a Muslim man, brown man, we're children of immigrants, zero-sum game. All of it belongs to us, all of it. We are the ones who birthed this nation. We're the ones who found it and cultivated it, and you are invaders, and you are taking what belongs to us. And I want people to really understand the psychology of this, because it will explain the last week, what we're going to talk about today, and what's going to happen for the next year. It's bad, folks. And it's everything that we've been talking about. The psychology is the following. It has been revealed itself throughout American history, through all the movie Birth of a Nation. You want to understand America? Watch the movie Birth of a Nation, right? It's the following. You came here, and through affirmative action and through fraud and cheating and crime and unfairness, you have oppressed the white man. We're the rightful heirs of this country, and you are now taking my job. You're taking my podcast. You're taking my TV show, and you're making life worse for me and my children. You are replacing me. So now this is a civilizational fight, and I will have to fight to the death to protect my honor, my race, my country. When it came to the bullshit narrative of economic anxiety, and we're going to connect the dots, folks. Instead of this country, and corporate media is an example of it, acknowledging what the rest of us said is that, yo, folks, the number one reason why people love Trump ain't because of economic anxiety. It's because of the hate and the racism. Remember that? All the data Danielle showed, all the studies, it was predominantly cultural anxiety around what? The fear of being replaced. It's been like this for 10 years. It took about 8 years for that economic anxiety zombie narrative to die. They still don't want to acknowledge it. And look what's happening right now, Danielle. Does it not make sense that they valorize, sanitize, elevate Charlie Kirk, give him a send-off at the Kennedy Center honors? A man who literally trafficked in hate. I was watching the Cowboys game yesterday. Danielle, Charlie Kirk hated the Dallas Cowboys, said that they should suffer. So you know what the Dallas Cowboys did? In memoriam, Charlie Kirk. Sorry for my rant.
No, it's not a rant. And here's the thing that I want to say too, because people are posting in the comments, and I think that it's important. And I have said this as well. White nationalism, white nationalist ideology is a sickness. It really is a sickness. And I continue to say to folks that the depravity and the sociopathic, pathways in these people's minds will have them destroy themselves, right? Because they can't help themselves. And I think that, instead of us having wasted so many years studying economic anxiety and all of that bullshit, that you might want to understand that, this isn't about a difference of opinion. These people, honestly, in their mindset are truly sick. When you believe that other people, based on their race, their ethnicity, their religion, their orientation, their gender, don't deserve to exist, that you can't go through life without continually interfering with other people. What I recognize today is that MAGA actually hates America. MAGA actually hates everything that America stands for, everything that this very deeply flawed nation of so much diversity, they hate it.
Yeah.
Right? And they hate America. They are not patriots. And so, for the love of God, I continue to say, go find a place where you can be your full white, hate-filled selves. Right? Where all you see and all you interact with is other white people like you. But that is not this country. That is not America. And I don't care how many lies they try and spread. I don't care how much history that they try and erase, because the thing that they cannot run from is themselves. They have such disdain for themselves, right? And that's where this comes from, is that everything with them is projection. Everything. I saw something the other day, and this is just some wild shit. Do you know the number one type of porn that MAGA watches?
Transgender porn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trans porn.
Yeah.
These people that hate trans people so fucking much, but you can't turn away. I'm telling you, it's just that shit to me. Also, the other thing that I learned over the weekend, 1 in 5 Americans are illiterate. Did you know that? 1 in 5. So you match that with the 1 in 6 that are not getting their kids vaccinated, and then the 1 in 5 that can't fucking read. That's why they hate us so much.
Can I bring 2 receipts? Because I always kept this one in my back pocket, and I know everyone forgets because there's so much terrible news. The Republican candidate, the Black Republican candidate, Donald Trump, loved and embraced, said it was like the modern Martin Luther King, right? I'm not talking about Herschel Walker. I'm talking about Mark Robinson. Remember Mark Robinson, the man who said that he was like, wanted to be like Black Hitler. He wanted to own slaves.
Oh, yes.
All of that was fine when he was running for North Carolina. Republicans were fine with it. All the racism, all the Black Hitler stuff, all the slavery stuff. Do you all remember what finally tanked his camp? Oh, he also from the pulpit incited violence, wanted to beat up Democrats. That was fine. Do you know what finally tanked him? I love it. A report alleged that Robinson made comments on a website called Nude Africa and cited for an account on this site using his actual name. He used the same username and email address for other accounts on multiple other websites. And also, again, another person said that he remembered Mark Robinson for being a frequent visitor to his online adult store, right? In addition to all that racist stuff, he graphically described his own sexual arousal as an adult from the memory of secretly peeping on women in public gym showers as a 14-year-old. He fantasized about it. He referred to himself as a perv and admitted this is what killed it. Everything I said so far was fine.
You said so far was totally fine.
This is what killed it. He admitted to watching transgender pornography. Once that nugget came out, over. And Danielle, you're from the LGBTQ community. You told me something that I tell my friends because it just stuck in my head. You said, Waj, marriage equality would have not passed if it were not for wealthy white conservative men.
Yes. I say it all the time. Like, because that after marriage equality passed, white gay men could go back to being conservatives because they had everything that they wanted. They didn't give a shit about anybody else. They didn't give a shit about the trans community. They damn sure don't give a shit about queer people of color, right? It was them, their money, right? That was able to fund the campaign. And then it was a wrap after that. Like, so it anyway.
And also, can one more thing, because I made this post and it went a bit viral on Twitter, and I've been getting death threats it's all good. It's my life. It happens. I've been getting death threats. They've been coming after me and they're trying to silence me. I refuse to be silenced, right? But this one comment that I made that didn't get the troll ratio, they kind of backed off of it. And I wonder why. Is I said, oh, MAGA is going to lose its mind when it realizes how many open and closeted Republicans and groypers are actually gay. The worst kept secret in Washington, D.C. It was the only one that didn't get ratioed. They kind of walked away from it because I'm like, once you all realize, oh boy. And as Danielle, she knows the community activists from the LGBTQ communities. And also each time they do Republican conventions, folks, Grindr, which is an app, it's like Tinder, is like Grindr is for LGBTQ, is mostly gay men. Grindr, they shared their heat map, the activity. Whenever there's a congregation of Republicans at RNC, I think it was in Wisconsin, literally the map of activity, like it was right there at the RNC. Like it blew up. And furthermore, last thing I'll say is we're still trying to figure out, more about the shooting. What we do know, Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old white man from a gun-loving, Trump-voting conservative family, it's all fact, turned himself in. His father asked him to turn himself in. He did. What we know so far is the language that he used, allegedly, on the bullets were all groyper language. Does that mean he's a groyper? We don't know. But that's all language from this really type of nihilistic, extreme, deeply online subculture, right? He used all those phrases. It's all shit posting, trolling, irony, dark humor, right? And what we also know is that groypers hate Charlie Kirk because he wasn't far right enough for them. They declared a war on Charlie Kirk for not being America first enough, for not being pro-white enough, right? And Nick Fuentes, the leader of the groypers, freaked out over the weekend, did a post, said, I disavow violence. And some groypers in the 4chan realized they said in the 4chan, oh, he looks like one of us. So we're still going to find out. But I'll tell you all this, and America's going to lose its mind. There are closeted LGBTQ Groyper members. There are open LGBTQ Groyper and MAGA members. You're going to see a confluence, mishmash of identities and white supremacist conspiracy theories with Luigi Mangione, right? People couldn't figure it out a couple of weeks ago. The shooting in Minneapolis. Trump's shooter was what? A radicalized white guy, former Republican. And this kid, what we know, comes from a Republican conservative family who uses Groyper language. And if we're not going to get into it because I want verification, but now they're saying, oh, there was a roommate. We don't. Anyway, just be very, very dubious about all this shit.
You know, I have to say this because I actually saw Dana Bash ask the fucking Utah governor. So we heard that his roommate, or he may have been involved with a trans person. I said, this is the question Dana Bash is asking. Like, that's journalism. So it's not his gun-loving family that introduced him to guns at an early age. It's not the fact that he's been radicalized by the right wing. It's the fact that he went to and we'll get into now what MAGA is saying out loud, because to their uneducated fucking followers, don't go to college, right? Because because it's the college. It's
not
education,
the guns, not online,
not the guns,
not Groypers,
not the Groypers, not the radical, none of that. It is trans people and education.
Yeah.
That is the problem. So I want to say this because I think that it's super super fucking important to understand. So today I just have a quick aside. Today you have to do, if you are an independent, right? I pay my taxes quarterly, right? And so I have to send in I sent in my payment today. And I really don't want to pay taxes, right? Like I don't know what I'm paying for, right? Like at this point, like I'm not paying for public schools. I'm not paying for infrastructure. I'm paying Donald Trump essentially. Like I just should send my money to Donald Trump, because just so we're clear, this is what my tax dollars are going to today. This is where your money is going to today. JD Vance, who doesn't fucking work. I don't know what the fuck he is doing as vice president other than taking vacations in blue states and in, and around the world. But JD Vance, because folks, I'm going to connect these dots today. JD Vance is hosting Charlie Kirk's show from the office we pay for, right? In these United States. He's hosting Charlie Kirk's show. And I think to myself, how convenient. I want to remind everybody, because I said this on the Danielle Moody show and you and I said it, Waj. Do you know the thing that Charlie Kirk was consistently talking about?
Epstein files?
The Epstein files. Do you know what else he was talking about?
What?
Israel. So now that Charlie Kirk is gone, don't you find it interesting that Trump and Vance are now taking over his audience? And don't you find it interesting that then they're taking over this man's audience, right? Who was all about finding out about Epstein, what is going on, release the files. And now they have his entire base redirected back to the radical left and whatever it is, but everything other than Epstein. Isn't that so neat and convenient?
So let me tell you all this. There's a problem of radicalizing your base. We've said this before, because once you turn your base into a weapon, you can use that base to attack your critics. But what we have warned about in the show is the following. What happens if that weapon, that monster that you have forged and nurtured and created, escapes the lab and turns on you? And that's something MAGA has never thought about. I want to remind you all, Donald Trump's shooter was what? A Republican white dude. I want to remind you all that this guy, Tyler, what we know allegedly comes from a white Republican family. I want to remind you all that the one thing that's bipartisan in America that over 80% of American Republicans, independents, and Democrats agree on is what? Release the files. Now, despite the right wing, as Daniel alluded to, trying their best to pivot to transgender and this and that, and I want to say this real quick. Let's just entertain this. Suppose he had a roommate who's transgender, and suppose they had a relationship. This is Dog Day Afternoon meets Groypers. Would I be shocked if there was a white dude from a conservative Republican family who had a gay lover who then got radicalized online and was influenced by the Groypers and then killed Donald Trump, killed Charlie Kirk? Nope, because I know these people. That's the subculture, right? But by their own logic, Danielle, if you are closely associated to someone and that person commits the crime, then you are held responsible. Okay, let's run with it. Mm-hmm. Jeffrey Epstein was the worst, most notorious pedophile in modern America. He said his closest friend was Donald Trump. They partied all throughout the 90s. Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files. So using MAGA's logic, is Donald Trump responsible? Just run with that, folks. You can run with that. So listen, with the Epstein files, this is very fascinating what Danielle is saying. They have radicalized their base for the past 10 years through the QAnon conspiracy around the Epstein files. The base is radicalized. Now they're in trouble because we have all these professional podcasters and shit talkers like Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and now JD Vance literally hosting a podcast instead of actual elected officials. Yeah. They've radicalized their base. Their base is not happy with any of them, with Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel, because they're like, you lied to us. JD Vance and Donald Trump will try to take over Charlie Kirk's audience. The problem is they don't like JD Vance. And the problem is they still want the release of the Epstein files. And because I'm in these swamps, so you don't have to be, let me tell y'all, even with Daniel, I don't know if you follow this, even with the right-wing MAGA top-down trying to send the message as transgender people, guess what, folks? Within MAGA, they're not buying it. They're saying, no, it seems too clean. We think it was inside job. Israel was responsible. And Benjamin Netanyahu had to come out, the prime minister of Israel, war criminal, had to come out and tell Newsweek Israel was not responsible for this. This is what happens when you radicalize your own base, Danielle.
Cuckoo magoo. Cuckoo magoo. Yeah. So on top of which, you have folks like this, right? Stephen Miller, who had come out real quick before, they're all against cancel culture. Cancel culture is fascism. While now they are literally trying to cancel everyone. Stephen Miller said, the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was his last message he sent to me, and we're going to do that. Was it the last message that was sent to you?
Charlie Kirk probably said having sex with women is gay, and Stephen Miller probably said, ha, 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 ha.
And then I had to pull this because I thought that it was important. The leftist students in Utah who didn't want Charlie Kirk to speak did what leftists do. They signed petitions, staged a protest, and lined up to challenge him. The right-winger who didn't want Charlie Kirk to speak did what right-wingers do and shot him. We are not the same. So I don't know what imaginary violence Stephen Miller is talking about. Like, again, with the projection. I don't know what the imaginary violence is that he is thinking about in his head. But
well, Danielle, you said projection. Can we just tell people the facts real quick? It's important because people don't know. The number one domestic terror threat, the GOAT of the past decade, nothing else comes close. Muslim extremism doesn't come close. Left-wing extremism doesn't come close in terms of actual incidents, plots thwarted, violence, and victims, is right-wing extremism. Right-wing extremism that is often interlinked with white nationalism and white supremacy. Nothing else comes close. And how many times have you heard Republicans talk about it? Mass shootings, almost now on a daily, weekly basis. 97 to 98% of mass shooters in this country are men. The majority of those men are
White men.
white. White. And I said this yesterday, no matter how much MAGA tries to project and deflect and pivot, they cannot escape the reality of the following, which is very dangerous for America. Number one, men are being radicalized online through hate and conspiracy theories. Number two, there are numerous mass shootings in this country where we have more guns than people. Are these same radicalized men, often young white men, have access to guns? All right. And number three, groypers continue to be a massive MAGA problem. Speaking about Frankenstein's monster who has escaped the lab, Danielle, you're going to see more of a mishmash. You will see. I will not be shocked if you see a transgender white shooter from a Republican family who espouses Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. That could be what happened 2 weeks ago. I will not be surprised if you see a gay white man who hates women, who is part of the Groypers culture, who thinks that Donald Trump is a globalist cuck. Right? We're going to be seeing this more and more, Danielle. So this is ultimately a problem they refuse to confront. They refuse to confront this for the past 16 years because they have to look in the mirror. So instead, they blame who? Haitians, immigrants, Black people, Muslims, transgender people. Number one domestic terror threat is white supremacist terrorism, right-wing extremism. 98% of them are men. Overwhelming majority, straight white men. Who do they blame? The rest of us.
And I just, look at this with the cross wearing. Like, I really wish that the cross would do the cross's job when it's put on people who are anything but Christian. I wish it would just, singe. Anyway, Katie
We'll talk
Britt,
about it. We'll talk about it, Motown,
yeah,
maybe.
Katie Britt, who, if you recall, made her whisper campaign, her rebuttal to Biden. In her kitchen, where she talked about being a mom and not a senator, I guess.
With the cross right above the breasts. Yeah.
If you were out there and you were celebrating the political assassination of a man who was exercising his free speech, you should be held accountable. You should be fired. And that is the beginning and the end of it, full stop. Really. So then every single Republican who made jokes about Paul Pelosi, who didn't, who made jokes about Paul Pelosi, who has called for assassinations of their political rivals, like, then all of those people should lose their jobs as well, right? Right, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Like, because I didn't see anybody posting a Halloween costume of a assault that took place against an elderly man. But that was Trump Jr., right? Who did that? Can't be fired because, like, he's never had a job. So I just, like, I think that instead of these people being allowed to just perpetuate their bullshit and turn this man, again, he wasn't a political leader. He wasn't a representative. He was a host of a show.
That's right.
So to turn him into some type of, like, right-wing Gandhi, I'm like, folks, take a breath. Like, in all honesty. And then this is what is happening. This is what's happening across the country right now. This is happening in Texas. I don't know who this young woman is.
She was arrested.
She was arrested.
She was arrested. Apparently, this is what's so dangerous. The free speech crowd, the people who spent years attacking cancel culture, who said facts don't care about your feelings, who mocked safe spaces, who said that they're First Amendment warriors, they'll defend your right to say even the most politically incorrect things, right? Words can incite violence. This woman, we found out, was actually arrested for assault. He doesn't mention this. This is Governor Greg Abbott. Look how he frames it. This is what happens to the person who was mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination at Texas Tech, FAFO, and he specifically uses a Black woman. But even some Republicans were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We don't want to just arrest people, right, for like saying words. And Greg Abbott and Katie Britt are like, no, 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 that's what we're going to do. If we really don't like your speech, we're going to arrest you. And much like what happened in East Germany and what's happened in fascist regimes, we're encouraging you to snitch on family members, on teachers. We want you to report anyone who has the wrong thought, bad thoughts, incorrect thoughts.
And just FYI, folks, your little chat GPT conversations, those are being monitored by OpenAI and they're being sent to the police. They said that this week. They are working hand in hand with the police on your chat GPT conversations. So be aware. And again, this man, purveyor of, free speech, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA put me on their professor watch list designed to harass and intimidate academics. He was no free speech warrior. He was a free speech hypocrite. Coming from a professor who was on his hit list. Because that's exactly what that was. Here again, State Department indicated over the last week, that they would review people's legal status for praising, rationalizing, or making light of Charlie Kirk's fatal shooting. When I said, and we have said here, this is their Reichstag fire.
Yep.
This is what they are using. That Charlie Kirk was this free speech warrior and he was killed for free speech, so then no one can have any free speech. Like, do you see the logic here? He was killed by a white man, which means that now Black HBCUs had to be shut down because of threats of violence. He was killed by a white man. It ain't got shit to do with Black colleges.
Nope. What about cancel culture, Danielle?
I mean, and the cancel culture, it's just, I just, everything that they do, all of the movements that are being made right now. And this was Charlie Kirk, just so that we are clear. Hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech. And all of this is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. That is from Charlie Kirk.
I keep telling people this. You cannot listen. I've been following this all week. And I've been getting death threats, and they've been trying to bully in silence. Doesn't affect me. You've lost MAGA. You've lost him. It's gone. They have made him into a hero. When you bring the receipts, they don't care. It's a cult, right? It's just like January 6th. No, it wasn't Trumpers. Look at all the Trumpers. You're lying. Whatever. It's the leftists. No, it was Trumpers. This is Donald Trump inciting violence. Whatever. No one was killed. No one was hurt. Here's them beating up cops. Whatever. Those cops are crisis actors. That's what Laura Ingraham said, right? These people are heroes, right? 80% of Republican voters think that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. They're lost, gone. So forget about convincing them. However, if you're like my wife and other people, they have no idea who Charlie Kirk was. My wife was just like, was this guy like some saint? Who was this guy? Because she was just kind of overwhelmed, but like, this person has a bigger send-off than Jimmy Carter. And then she read about what she said. She goes, oh my, this guy was terrible. Holy crap, right? Normies are horrified by Charlie Kirk once they actually hear his own word. Folks, his whole career, it's not a one-off. He was proud of it. He doubled down on it. He wore it like a badge of pride. He went to college campuses, trolled people, right? Just share his own words. Share his own words openly.
And I'm like, you don't even have to add in your thoughts.
Nope.
Like, just, you know what I'm saying?
Press play.
Just press play. Run the clips, right, of what he said. And then you understand. You think to yourself, this is what our flags are at half-mast for. This is what NFL sports teams are taking a moment of silence for. But when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, that was being political. But they literally put this man's face who said that Black people were better off in slavery and that Black women do not have the intelligence to do their jobs. They just take jobs from white men. That is what the NFL posted.
What did they say? Right? They don't have the intellectual capacity, right?
They don't have the intellectual capacity, right? And so, when I tell you that these people, they are going to combust, right? And you're watching it in real time. It is just unfortunate that the rest of us are going to be collateral damage to
There you
their
go.
fuckery.
There you go.
But like, listen, folks, but I want to talk about this, and I want to
Please.
juxtapose it to Karen Atia, who we are going to talk about, who everyone is talking about in the chat. I want you to listen to this fucking man. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me put it up because you have to hear him in his own words. This I did actually have to pull today because I was just like, I couldn't.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up.
Just kill him. Casually. And notice his other two co-hosts didn't even flinch.
Didn't even flinch. Did not even flinch.
Can I remind you, because people have forgotten, last week on CNN, Abby Phillips, it was trending for only an hour. Another white Republican woman went on that Abby Phillips terrible show. And when it came to people with schizophrenia, you know what she said? Lock them up forever.
Yeah.
When it comes to RFK, eugenics, autism, wants a registry. He's never met a useful autism person in his life who's been able to like do anything. Just complete bullshit, right? They can't do anything. They can't date. They can't do this. Curtis Yarvin, the person that JD Vance and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk follow, said he proposes a humane alternative to genocide by turning unproductive people into like Soylent Green biodiesel, or putting them in a virtual reality headset where they could just live out the rest of their lives like on Soma. And then Elon Musk also talked about, unproductive people. Charlie Kirk, quoting, Charlie Kirk shares Elon Musk's idea on empathy. Charlie Kirk says he doesn't believe in it, says it's a new age word. It's a pro-death cult. You know who also talk like this about sick people, people who are mentally unwell, the homeless. You know who's talked about this? Hitler. Nazis.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, I think that it's really important for folks to see where we are, right? That like that man did not lose his job. He is still on Fox because he also knows his audience. These people are bloodthirsty, right? Like they believe that they are the only ones that deserve to exist, free. And I'm telling you, when they get their way and they get rid of everyone and lock everyone else up, they're going to turn on each other, which is exactly what started last week. And so please watch, because folks are asking about Karen in the chat, who we learn was fired from the Washington Post top editor there because of posts that she made that were truthful on social media.
So Karen Atia, last week, I called Karen on a whim about something, and then she mentioned to me she just got fired by Washington Post. She was shook up. She was there for 11 years. She was Jamal Khashoggi's editor. Jamal Khashoggi, the U.S. national who was chopped up by Saudi Arabia. And Donald Trump still promotes MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, the man who ordered his assassination. Karen Atia, as a Black woman, daughter of immigrants, as of last week, was the last remaining Black opinion writer. Other people left, took the buyout. And she, wrote some really benign comments in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's murder. In no way, shape, or form celebrating it, didn't use bad words, just talked about the double standard, talked about the double standards that exist. Go read her own post. I saw that, and I've been wondering this for a while. Karen, you're still Washington Post. They're going to get rid of you. I kept telling her that, like, you're still there. And then they got rid of her. They got rid of her for the most benign comment. And I'll share. I spoke to her over the weekend, and I said, you should come out in front, own your narrative, and not be silenced. And she came out today, did a really wonderful post talking about how she got fired, why she got fired. She was there for 11 years, completely impersonal, No phone calls, just bang, done. Got rid of their last black opinion writer. That means right now, the Washington Post, there are 0 black opinion writers. As that happened, as Matthew Dowd got fired for pretty much telling the truth, as a transgender writer got fired from DC, her comic book just came out, Red Hood #1. They canceled the entire series. I just picked up the first book. It was really good. Is because she, in the aftermath of just finding out, she's transgender. So yeah, she's like, F that Nazi piece of ass. She said something like that. They fired her, canceled the entire series. She's written like 6 episodes. They're going to come out, cancel all of them, right? As that's happening, the man who casually goes on Fox and Friends says, kill all homeless people. And then a full day later, then he goes, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. Still has his job. Danielle.
I mean, it's just like I continue to say this, we are living in the upside down. And, and things are just going to get worse. And the reality is that you are being lied to. Like these mainstream corporate outlets are in cahoots with the fascists to ensure that you stay undereducated, that you remain in the dark, that you believe the lies that they tell you about trans people and black people and this, that, and the other thing. Folks, it is all a setup. And I tell people, like, Karen was the last black person at the Washington Post. I knew, like, she was on borrowed time.
Yep.
You're working at Bezos's paper that literally said, oh, we're going to start telling real American stories. That's what he said after Donald Trump was elected. What were the stories they were telling before?
Me and Danielle are replicants. We're replicants.
So, you have to be clear and you have to be really cautious about what you're ingesting these days, because everything is meant, right, to misinform you. Like everything is meant to misinform you. And they are profiting off of it. And so, like, this is why Waj and I do this show. This is why we have our Substacks. This is why we're independents, because you can't tell the truth and work at these institutions. You cannot, because they will get rid of you. If you are not part of the company line, lying or minimizing or creating euphemisms, for the shit that's happening, if you are unapologetic and telling the truth, they will get rid of you.
Go look at her Substack. I shared it on my Substack. Go look at what she wrote. Go look at what she wrote and simply compare and contrast it to the receipts we've brought today. Compare and contrast it to what Republican officials and senators have said against Paul Pelosi, how Senator Mike Lee mocked Governor Walz in the aftermath of the Minneapolis shooting, the fact that Donald Trump still hasn't called Melissa Hortman's family, what they've said over the weekend, what Brian Kilmeade said, and just compare and contrast it to what Karen said. Free speech for me, cruelty for thee. Safe spaces for me, no safe spaces for thee. Power for me, powerlessness for you. You live under my boot. MAGA, these are MAGA rules. We can say and do anything we want against anyone that we please with impunity. You have to take it. And if you don't, we'll crush you. There's another word for that. It's called fascism. It's been like this throughout U.S. history, especially when it comes to white supremacy. You black, you better not look at me. You better not read. You better do exactly what I want. And even if you do exactly what I want, if I feel like killing you, I will.
I will. And then there are the handmaids. Waj.
Oh. Did you see it? Did you see the 60 Minutes? I saw it. All right, folks. Why did I get death threats over the weekend? Let me see. Did you have mine? Let me see mine. There you go. This is what I wrote. I watched the 16-minute live address of Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk is the widow of Charlie Kirk. I was online and someone said there's going to be an address. I'm like, sure, I'll see it. Okay, I saw it on YouTube. I thought, I don't know, in terms of tragedy, 2 days later, when usually someone come on, they tell stories about the deceased person. They shed some tears. They talk about the family. They thank everyone. They lower the temperature. They ask for prayers. It's the end, right? So she did that a little bit, talked about her husband, talked about how bad it was to break the news to the 3-year-old daughter. I'm like, all right, yeah, this is normal. It was interesting that it was staged. That's fine too. Okay. It seemed to me a little bit performative. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But throughout the 16 minutes, Danielle, it became more and more disturbing. And then what it came off as, and we have some receipts, is, like I said, Erica Kirk is using her husband's death to promote Kirk's vehicle of hate, Turning Points. Fascinating to watch this right now. Other people call it an infomercial. Because of this, I got threats and still getting threats nonstop. Oh, they tried to bully me, mock me, ridicule me. All of them came out. I'm not even talking about the bots. I'm talking about all of them. Why? I've been in this game a long time. They bully one person to intimidate the rest of you to silence. And they were trying to use me to say, how dare you mock and criticize this widow? You are a ghoul. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. This widow decided on her own to use a 16-minute address instead of uniting the country to say what I still stand by was some really disturbing.
Oh, I'm gonna play.
Stuff.
I'm gonna play a part of it. Let's. I'm gonna play only a part of it, folks. Because I can't ingest all of it.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea.
Totally normal.
I don't know who the they are.
Who's the they?
Who is the they?
Because Tyler Robinson was
Robinson is in custody.
She knew the suspect.
And he's the shooting suspect. He's the one that unfortunately killed your husband. So who is the they that she is talking about? And what fury is she getting ready to unleash? And now I want to remind folks, because I could only stomach that for a few moments, because I want to remind you that when Black people are killed in this country, shot dead by police, shot dead by white vigilantes, they are forced to go on television to then say, let's bring peace. Violence isn't the answer. My son, my daughter, my nephew, my grandchild, love this country, love blah, 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 blah. Can you imagine, and rightfully fucking so, if the family member, if a Black person got on television talking about, you don't know the fury that you've unleashed? We don't even have equality when it comes to grieving. But this woman was allowed to get on air, speak about this imaginary they.
That was us. That's the rest of us.
To stir up the increasing hate and violence that took her husband's life and continue on his mission. I mean, it is really fucking vile. And then Donald Trump, who also said, when asked on Fox, well, there is violence on the right too. What are we going to do about that? And he said very clearly, I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care, because those people, they just want crime to go. They are the fucking crime. Literally.
They don't care. He
said he doesn't care. He does not care to bring this country together. JD Vance is using Charlie Kirk's audience and platform to spin everything away from the Epstein files, everything away from Israel, I mean, these people, folks,
It's not going to work. Only
you
for a
have
week.
got to
It's not
see
going to work.
through this.
It ain't going to work, folks. Look, what you're going to watch is, yes, the march is going to be march towards canceling the rest of us, march towards authoritarianism, violence. We see it. But just pay attention to something Danielle and I have said today about 2 or 3 times. MAGA is also imploding. People might not see it, but they are. The fissures are there. It was because of Epstein. It's because of the radicalization of their own base. It's because they don't respect JD Vance. It's because also the economy is in the shitters. And also Donald Trump does not look healthy. The fissures are happening within MAGA. And I posted this earlier over the weekend, and I stand by it. I think the only thing that will destroy MAGA is MAGA. I stand by that. I think MAGA will eat MAGA. But as Danielle has said, they're going to try to destroy as many of us as they can before they go out.
Yeah. And and I just
blame everyone.
let me, because
blame everyone except Tyler Robinson.
Blame everyone except for the white man that was radicalized by your hate and given a gun. So here's Megyn Kelly. We haven't felt like ourselves since Obama. He was such a slick snake. He was so divisive in his messaging of yes, we can, of there are no red states and blue states, only the United States. He was so divisive. He's the one who started to inject race when no one had been doing it. Oh, you mean just by being black and alive? And she's fucking right, because they haven't been right since Obama. They absolutely haven't been. White people have lost their fucking minds since Obama was president.
Look at this rundown. Over the past weekend, they have literally blamed anything and everything except white people, except guns, except a culture that celebrates guns, except online radicalization, except groypers. They haven't mentioned groypers and Nick Fuentes at all. Do you know why, folks? Because Donald Trump dined with Nick Fuentes. Do you know who went and supported Nick Fuentes? Even after it was revealed he's a white nationalist, Marjorie Taylor Greene. He belongs to that ecosystem. They realize he's part of the ecosystem. So they can't mention it, because if they actually mention that Nick Fuentes and the groypers are part of the right-wing ecosystem, they have to look inward, and they have to talk about the number one domestic terror threat in America, white supremacist terrorism and right-wing terrorism. So they won't do that. Instead, transgender people, colleges, black people, the left, let's just talk about this openly, Daniel. Whenever it's a Muslim, they go to the family, to the scholars, to the mosque, to the books they read, to the imams. All Muslims have to apologize. All Muslims have to condemn. When it's black people, it's about the culture. Yep. Charlie Kirk said it right.
Yep.
They don't have fathers. What is it about the households? Hip hop music. So Danielle, what about the culture that produces repeatedly and consistently white male shooters? Talk to me about that culture.
I mean, here are the pictures. Here is the photographic evidence, right? Again, white America will look everywhere but in the mirror, and when they see their own reflection, they will shatter it and then throw the shards at everyone else. The reality is that America has a white nationalist problem. America has a gun problem. America has a radicalization problem that they refuse to check, because it's everyone else's fault except for theirs. And I am just so fucking sick and tired. But Waj, you are 100% right. The fissures, the cracks, they are showing. And I am telling you, and I pray to be wrong, but the violence in this country that we are seeing is going to escalate because they want it to. They are bloodthirsty. And they are going after everyone and everything. This is their Reichstag fire. This is what they want. And I believe, I gotta say, Charlie Kirk was killed because he was talking too much about Epstein. I pray to you that that is the truth. And now JD Vance is on his airwaves, pivoting the conversation and manipulating his millions upon millions of followers. If that doesn't seem fucking crazy to you, you're not paying attention.
It's wild. We're gonna find out more. What we know right now is Tyler Robinson turned himself in, 22 years old, white man, young white man from a conservative, Trump voting family, according to the grandmother. FBI did shit because FBI under Kash Patel is completely incompetent. They make the Keystone cops look like friggin' Sherlock Holmes. The father told Tyler Robinson to turn himself in. Bullet casings that were found, the inscriptions on them are all the stuff that are used in online trash talk, a Groyper culture. Groypers hated Charlie Kirk, thought he wasn't America first enough. We'll find out a lot more, but that's what we know so far. He only had one semester of college. He dropped out. And this is my take. If they're blaming colleges, if I may, before we get to some good news. If Republicans, that's what Republicans said yesterday at the Kennedy Center.
No, I'm gonna pull it up because I have here she is.
How does a 22-year-old become so filled with hate? 5 years earlier, I was told he was a Trump supporter and we send our kids off to college and they brainwash them. I'm making a plea to mothers. Do not send your children into these indoctrination camps. Do not do it. Okay. Carrie,
so here's Wash. Go ahead.
Republicans, please have your children drop out of college immediately, especially the children of Republican officials. After all, you're the one saying it corrupted Tyler Robinson and his institution of evil. Protect your kids. Every single person here from here on out demand every Republican official, especially if their kids go to good colleges and Ivy Leagues, you better demand them. You're saying that these institutions corrupted Tyler Robinson, made him into a killer. Why are you sending your children to these corrupt, leftist, godless, transgender institutions and indoctrinating them into being killers? Why are you paying their tuition, sir? Why? Fair, legitimate question? I don't know. I think so.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're over time, but we are going to close out with some good news. People who actually use their platforms for the right thing. So, first up, yesterday was the Emmys, and Javier Bardem took an opportunity during his interview to talk about Gaza. And I want to pull that video.
So dope.
Because I
I
think it was important.
You find out a company that you're going to go into business with is in business with Israel. What do you do?
I won't work. I cannot work with somebody that's justify or support the genocide. I can't. That's as simple as that. And we shouldn't be able to do that in this industry and in any other industry. Today in Madrid, in Spain, the cycle, La Vuelta, the bicycle tour, it was stopped by thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the streets marching, saying we can't allow the team of Israel being in this tour, so it's whitewashed. No, the world has changed, and what we are witnessing is a genocide, as I said in your show, in 4K alive on a daily basis. This has to stop.
Bravo.
It has to stop.
Bravo.
And then there was this one. Also, again, using your platform for good.
Finally, I'll pay the difference. Sorry. Finally, I just want to say, finally, go Birds, and free Palestine. Thank you.
The thing that was bleeped out was fuck ICE and free Palestine. And then the last bit of good news is this. Finally, things are shifting. The establishment is finally starting to realize what we have known all along. We actually want fighters. We want politicians that give a shit about us and not their donors. And Zoran Mamdani has done a fantastic job in framing his opponents as Trump loving, corporate donor loving candidates who don't give a shit about you. And so finally, the governor of New York came out today in a New York Times op-ed and endorsed Zoran Mamdani. And this is what she said. Families cannot wait another year, another month, another election cycle. They need urgent action now. Since taking office in January, Trump has killed jobs and dragged down our economy with tariff tax hikes that make life more expensive for working families. He's gutted Medicaid and food assistance, slashed federal funding New York City relies on, and threatened a federal takeover of New York, all while trying to put his thumb on the scale of our local elections. New York needs leaders who will put aside differences, stand up, and fight back against Trump. Zoran Mamdani and I will both be fearless in confronting the president's extreme agenda with urgency, conviction, and the defiance that defines New York. And we must never allow Trump to control our city like the king he wants to be. Anyone who accepts his tainted influence or benefits from it, shout out to Cuomo, shout out to Adams, is compromised from the start. My entire career, I have embraced the happy warrior, can-do spirit that meets any challenge undaunted. I and other New Yorkers have seen that in Zoran Mamdani.
Pressure's on, Schumer. Pressure's on, Hakeem Jeffries. I kept telling y'all, Schumers and Jeffries are not built for this fight. They're not made for this moment. Senator Van Hollen also came out and over the weekend said they have to endorse Mamdani. And Hakeem Jeffries to Democrat Senator Van Hollen. You know what he said? Van Hollen who?
So as we close out today, dear friends, with really good numbers today, thank you so much for tuning in. As Waj always says, we are independent media. We are fiercely independent for a reason, so that we can speak truth to power with integrity, which we do so Monday and Friday here on YouTube, 12 p.m. Eastern. And on Wednesdays, we do our midweek check-in on Substack. If you have the ability, dear friends, because we keep all of our content free, do subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you never miss an episode. Subscribe to Waj's Substack, which is brilliant, to the left hook. He does amazing interviews, at least 100 a day. Do subscribe to my Substack, The Damn Digest. And if you have a few bucks and you have the ability to become a paid subscriber to our Substacks, please consider doing so. I want to shout out all of our amazing super sticker and super thanks folks. Susan, Game Shark, Barb, Demetria, Ghost, Christine, Kathleen, K-Dub, Joyce, Maureen, E. Schwartz, Motown Mini, Starchild, Ivy4, Nandy, Motown Mini again,
Thank you.
Ghostface Killer, Wonder Dog, Susan again,
Thank
Leopard,
you, Susan.
Paula, Just Saying, and Jimmy. We appreciate you so, so very much. Every single dollar goes to our ability to create the kind of content that you all deserve, and we appreciate you. Waj, any last thoughts?
Folks, thank you. Be kind, be decent. Please, please, please speak out. They want you to be silent. They want you to obey in advance. They want you to be bullied. They want to bulldoze you. You are playing against bad faith actors who are playing without any rules. They just want to win by any hypocritical means necessary. Forget trying to convince them. Convince the majority. And the way you convince the majority is you speak out. You speak out. Javier Bardem did it. Hannah Einbinder did it. You're seeing all these professors do it. These kids do it. Students do it. Share Charlie Kirk's own words. Do not underestimate the power of your voice or the truth. What's common to you isn't common to everyone else, right? Before they sit there and indoctrinate the rest of the people, you grab the conch, you tell the story, right? You share the narrative. Use his own words, and then turn around and say, is this your king? Is this your prince? I'm Charlie Kirk. You're a man who said that black people should be slaves and black people are better off during segregation? Okay. Show your ass out completely, right? Take the hoods off. So speak out, speak out, speak out. And folks, remember, if you can only take care of yourselves, if you can only educate yourselves, your family members, your neighbors, that's the win. That's the win. Start local and then spread out. So be kind, be informed, be empathetic. Some would even say be woke. And please, oh, please don't be a fascist.
Be a fascist. We'll see you guys on Wednesday on Substack for a midweek check-in. Be well.